take a good decision. We made the decision about this, right?
Yep.
We don't know about
We're
this.
going to find out the options.
Right? We know about this.
Yep.
And what about
and even though you apply same finish on
it will be a different
back panel will be totally different.
This
it will
line,
reflect
this
some
edge,
sky or something.
as a separate, it'll read anyway very strongly because the material, because it's of its proportions.
You're going to read that edge because
Right.
I mean, it's also...
You cannot be a cynic or a skeptic when you build a building. You cannot be a pessimist, which you could be in almost any other endeavor. You could compose in a minor key, or you can write a poem that has a darkness to it. But because architecture requires foundations, because it requires construction, and it's a communal activity, it always is an assertion of a future that is true, that is good. The building has to be liberating in some sense. It can't just be just one more building. It has to be a building that liberates the thought, liberates the mind, liberates the way your heart beats. There's something very visceral in a building, which is inescapable. And I think it's what in some ways makes architecture part of the divine. Every project brings its own sort of a new world, literally, a new sky, a new set of people, a new idea. So it's true that no matter how small or how large a project, each one of these things is sort of a wonder, a world of wonder. And each one, poses its own questions to you. How should it be? Where should it be? And who said that architecture should just be a neutralized world that confirms all our ideas? I think, like anything else, a good building, whether it's old or new, is something that propels your consciousness and your body into an awareness. Not only about the stable, the fixed, the present, but also what is absent, what is not there, what you long for, what is desired. It's about a movement, which is not only obviously a physical movement, but also an emotional, a philosophical, a conceptual movement of the spirit. And often one is oblivious, one doesn't hear the voices or doesn't see the sort of the ghost, the invisible aspects of the space, but I'm interested in those, certainly. There's so much more than meets the eye in any building, which has to be thought about, because partly buildings are just everyday objects. They're part of life. They're like a pair of shoes, or something, or a spoon, or a knife. But on the other hand, they are also objects of reflection. They reflect light. They bring light to the world. They literally illuminate one's life. There is so much that goes into architecture, because there's so much that goes into what we take for granted. And architecture is both what we take for granted. And what do we take for granted? We take the everyday, but we also take for granted the dreams that we have. We take for granted the aspirations, the ideals, the others. Sometimes you start, you don't know where it's going to lead you. And then after a while, you might kind of discover that it's not nonsense, that it's something that you've been thinking about. And I really believe that architecture comes from a drawing. It's just that gesture, which is not just the hand. It's the mind, it's the intuition. It's kind of the connections. I don't know.
It's all about balance.
Thank you.
No, it's a pleasure.
If you need it back.
No.
What did I do with that idea? It's an element. Call him
In the end, it's what is the real meaning of this story that space will tell? How will it carry people into a world that is good? And that's sort of the creative search, the quest.